you know how this works, I do record every single one of my lessons. I have a second channel where I always upload the VODs and then I share them with students, um, which I find to be really helpful because a lot of students don't have VODs to review, and I think VOD review is really important. Um, and it also lets you sort of, if there's too much information, it lets you go back and review, which can be useful as well. Um, the VOD can be either public or private. It's your choice. Doesn't really matter. I throw it up public by default, but if you want me to unlist it, let me know.
Yeah, that's all right.
Cool, cool. And here is your arena code. So, a couple questions before we get started. Who do you main?
Mainly Lucas, but also a little bit of Bowser Jr.
Okay, cool.
But yes, mostly Lucas. Since I played casually basically all the time, I never really like settled. But those are the two that I prefer, I guess.
Okay, two interesting characters. Two underrated characters, I would say. I think they're actually
Yeah,
both not so bad, but considered not great.
I really liked Web JP. He was a player, he used to play Lucas, but now he absolutely hates him.
Yeah, I played against his
He
Lucas.
says
It's
he's
terrifying.
yeah.
He's very good at all the
But
cheese, which is not.
yeah.
Yeah, and he has excellent neutral. I beat his. He went Bowser against me in bracket once for some reason though, and I beat his Bowser. So.
Yeah, he's
Say
really good. But you're yeah, you're
um.
really playing well. Congratulations.
So Lucas is one of those. Let's just not fight for a second. Lucas is one of those characters where the main focus is on your combo game, right? You want to make sure that every time you get a hit, you're finding a way to turn that into big damage or even potentially a stock. He has a lot of very long combos that are hard to do, so it's very important that you spend a good amount of time in training mode. So how long have you been playing Smash for?
About 2 years.
2 years. Okay, cool. And do you compete in tournaments, or are you fully casual, or?
Not really. I wanna start going,
Awesome.
but I've never really been to.
You said, are you from Europe?
No, no, I'm from Colombia, but I just moved for school.
Sorry, where do you live?
In Belgium.
Brazil? Sorry, I can't really hear you. There's just like a lot of background noise and stuff. Oh, now I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Your mic sounds better too.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect.
Cool. So where'd you say you're from?
I'm from Colombia, but I'm living in
Colombia.
Belgium.
Oh, in Belgium. Oh,
Yeah,
cool. Um,
that's for school.
so yeah. I don't know what the Belgium scene's like, but you got plenty of people over there. I would bet that there's probably locals that'll either start popping up soon or that have before. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I think the core of this game is offline competition. That's where all the fun is.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
so the first
So,
thing I want to do to try to sort of get an assessment of your skill level is just do this for me, okay? Just do short hop, fast fall. Okay, so you got that down. Now alternate between short hop, fast fall and full hop, fast fall. There you go. You seem to mostly have that down too. Okay, so you're at the point where you feel comfortable moving around, right? Like you can do RARs, you can do like we don't have to spend too much time going into mechanics and things like that, right?
mm, I cannot do RARs. I've tried to get them down, but the controls are a bit tricky. I saw your guide, but
Gotcha.
yeah, I can do them. Yeah, I've never. I need to incorporate them better, but I can do it.
Cool.
Ah,
Yeah, and it's very important for Lucas to be able to do stuff like that, because his back air is really, really good, especially off stage, right? You do like the off stage bear to spike people, things like that. Um, So yeah, so spending time in training mode can definitely help you. We'll go ahead and start over here and run a couple games and just sort of see how they go, and I'll try to give you notes as we go along on what I think you can improve it. I just like to get an impression of the general skill, like technical skill, before we start. But
Okay.
it seems like you're doing a pretty good job on that, which is good.
Yeah, it's just I
Um,
think I have omega stages.
can you do me a favor? Yeah, set it to random. I have it set up to go to only legal stages. Oh, yeah, unfortunate. It happens. Yeah, especially playing US to Europe, there's going to be a little bit of a delay on some inputs, so it might take a little bit for us to get used to it.
Yeah. Ah.
So stuff like that, real risky. You want to save those for reads and things like that. Or like harass with up B, right? And then use that as like a last ditch to get people off of you.
Ah.
Oh, almost.
Really.
Sometimes you just want to go back to stage. I mean, you have a broken tether, so sometimes it's better just to recover. Make sure you get center back than to try to get too fancy and end up throwing stocks away. Plus, you're opening yourself up to be edge guarded there. Nice, good tech read. That's unfortunate. Does that always happen?
Yeah.
I guess I'm used to Ness.
Some I don't know when it happens actually. A couple of times against Corin and Lucina, I noticed that the counter edge guard doesn't work always. I guess because of the multi-hit, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure either. But I don't really go for that counter much. I just thought that you were at an angle where it would work.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
problem with you spending so much time off stage, right? Is
Yeah.
I can just hit you. And this is the issue with playing with like the same group of friends a lot, right? If they're not that good and they are around your skill level, there's not a lot of pushing each other to get better. Do you play Smash like offline with friends a lot?
Online, yeah. On arenas, basically every day, basically.
Gotcha.
We're all
And do you play like quick play or Elite Smash or?
yeah as well.
Yeah,
Um, I'm always going in and out of Elite Smash. That's around my GSP.
gotcha.
Uh,
So
but yeah,
quick play is interesting. It'll definitely teach you some bad habits, but it can be good for learning matchups and getting practice when you don't have another way to practice. Um, but it's really important that you spend some time playing against good players, like players who will
okay.
punish your bad habits so that you know what those bad habits are, right? So right
Right.
now it looks like one of the main issues you have is, I mean, obviously this was one game, it was 3 stocks. Is your recovery. You're either taking too much risk or trying to do too much. I mean, as Lucas, 90% of the time, you just want to double jump tether. You know what I mean? Tether is so
Yeah.
hard to interrupt, and I think you're undervaluing stage control as a concept. You want to be taking center and holding out your opponent and putting your opponent in the corner. That should be your #1 goal. So you notice how I'm sort of weaving in and out, waiting for you to whiff something, and then punishing the whiff, right? There we go. There's another whiff punish. So if you watch the VOD back on VOD review, you'll notice that that's like 90% of my game plan against you. And then I'm just trying to get big punishes every time I get a grab. Like there I got a grab, I'm going to try to get a punish. I've still got you in disadvantage. There you go, you just double jump tethered that time, which is much less risky.
Yeah.
So that was another case where if you just tether, you'll be way less likely to get edge guarded, right? Tether is a really good recovery tool. It's a little inconsistent, but it's incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Because it's just so fast, you can't react to it. I have to guess to punish tether, while I can just react to your other. And anytime you can punish something on reaction instead of guessing what your opponent's going to do, that's better for you. Because reactions are consistent, predictions are not. Oh, you almost made it. It was a good angle. That's so hard to do. Anytime I get them on squad strike, random or whatever, I have no idea how to recover. So I understand how hard that can be.
Yeah, but I think it's really to what you were saying about friends with friends, because it's almost like a mini game for us. We really spend a lot of time on the ledge, like trying to escape. But yeah, it's not really good for competitive play.
Yeah, if you're trying to get to the point where you can compete in tournaments and things like that, you definitely wanna take fewer risks, right? Because every time you take a risk, like there's the concept of risk reward. I'll explain in between games so that we're not distracted.
Ooh. But it's like,
Yeah, it's a little bit delayed, but that's okay. See, those up Bs can be good, or down Bs can be good. It's just when you do it for no reason, when you could just recover for free, that's when it gets to the point of being too risky.
ah,
Good grab.
no. Oh,
So yeah, you get hit by that a lot, and it's because you're not used to someone doing it to you. You're not used to someone threatening that area. So you need to play against people who are going to punish bad habits. That's the number one way for you to improve quickly at the level that you're at. So yeah, today might help, but there's discords you can join. There's matchmaking in this Discord with some good players, and you know there's ways to find good players. Elite Smash also works if you really focus on improving when you play instead of like I hop on Elite Smash and I just mash a lot of the time. It doesn't make me better. But if you really want to improve, you got to hop on with the mentality that every game matters. And I don't mean winning. You got to hop on and try to learn something every game, right? And then after the game, think, what can I take away from that experience? That's the real way to reflect and improve.
I find
Sorry, go ahead.
I've always had like a question like how much can you really improve? Because like I've practiced combos, I've practiced a little bit of tech of Lucas, but online just nothing happens. Like I know I can tell when we're like if I practice a combo or something, and I don't know, it never like works outside of training mode. I mean,
Yeah,
so
no,
like
that's a barrier a lot of people face. And there's two things that hold people back from incorporating things like that into their play. First off, you have to practice it so much that it is so comfortable to you that you don't have to think about it. You got to get to the point where you can do that combo basically with your eyes closed, right? Because if you're not at that point yet, you're going to be thinking about how do I land the combo. You're not going to be automatic. Like you want to automatically do the combo when you find the opening. So practice, practice, practice. Practice it in training mode. But also, once you get to the point where you feel consistent, when you're in a game, you gotta not care about losing. You got to say, if I get the opening, I'm going to try this combo. If it doesn't work, that's fine. That's experience. I'm getting experience every single time I miss the combo. And then you'll get more and more comfortable and you'll find more and more openings where you can do it. And then eventually it'll just all sort of fall into place.
Is that I
So,
can always tell, like when somebody's fishing for a combo, it's like, okay, he's trying to
yeah.
do his combo. Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah, fishing is
so
not the answer. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to say to yourself every time, like say you have a combo that starts with a dare on stage or something, right? Say to yourself, every time I get a dare, I'm going to go for the follow up I practiced. Even if I miss it, I'm going to go for it. And every time I miss, I learn something, right? Say like they DI to the right and you expected left and you miss. Well, that's something you learned. If they DI to the right, you have to adjust, right? So practice needs to go beyond just the training room. You need to practice in game. And you might not win those friendlies, right? Like, say you could just go for down air fair and that's like guaranteed and it's 20% or whatever. And you're like, okay, great. But you could be getting 50% if you'd practiced enough. Friendlies don't matter, right? You got to get in the mindset that winning your friendlies don't matter. You play friendlies to improve. If you want to be a tournament player, then you do the consistent things in tournament, but in friendlies you need to take risks, to make decisions that get you out of your comfort zone, and basically just explore the game. Explore what all your options are and trust that you are capable of doing anything you see that those pros do. Because you are. It's all practice. It's all time put in. Um, do you have you know the concept of just like risk reward, right? Just in general.
um,
Like not
I guess,
necessarily,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
not really as it applies to Smash. Just in life, like
yeah.
calculated risks and like the reward you get out of them. That's my main philosophy with Smash, and every decision I make is there are three factors you have to think about, and this is for in tournament, right? When you really want to win, not when you're trying to just improve. Okay, so you need to think about what am I risking when I hit this button, when I make this decision, right? Like if I screw this up, or no, not even if I screw this up, because you want to trust yourself not to screw up at all times. You think if I miss this, if I guess wrong and my opponent doesn't do what I think they're going to do, or whatever, what is the risk, right? And that is the first factor. Like say an F smash on stage, right? That's pretty risky. There's a lot of lag. You're risking something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
While a safe aerial spaced on their shield that they can't punish is very low risk, right? So we want to minimize risk, do as little risk as possible. Now the second factor is how likely is this to work, right? So if that F smash on stage is working every single time, then the risk doesn't matter, right? Because the risk is like mitigated by the fact that it's always working. You're confident, you have the read. So and then the third thing you got to think about is reward. What do I stand to gain from this decision? So if they're at excuse me, I want to let my dog in real quick. If uh
Yeah.
if they're at 0%, right? What do you stand to gain from that F smash if it hits? Like I'm asking you, what do you stand to gain?
Uh, if there's zero, just percent, right?
Yeah,
Just
just
do
percent.
some quick
Yeah,
damage.
you get like what, 15%, right? So if it's really risky and the reward is pretty minimal, don't do it. Make sense? Now,
Yeah.
if they're at 100 and you go for that F smash, what do you stand to gain? Or whatever, depending on the
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. They can. Yeah. They're stuck.
Yeah, a stock, right? So like that can be worth it, and that needs to influence your decision making. Those concepts of risk reward, and it's really hard to think that way when you're in game, and that's why VOD review is so important. So when you get this VOD, my biggest recommendation is that you go through it. I usually play it at 0.75 speed because it makes it easier to process everything because you got to watch both characters at once. And then just look at yourself, look at every decision you make. Like if you do an F tilt, if you do an F smash, if you choose to jump in a certain situation, if you recover this way, and just think to yourself, what was the risk? How confident was I? And what was the reward? And you'll start to see in your mind, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Or, oh, that was a good decision, right? And that's how you start to hone your play. Once you realize it in slow motion, in review, it'll all start to feel more natural and fall into place in game. And that's how you really improve. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And that's why I find VOD reviews so important, because like you can just mash all day, right, and barely improve. Like you'll improve a little bit just through osmosis, but if you're not sitting there and you're not focused on this is what I'm improving on, this is what I did wrong, this is what I did right, the improvement's going to be incredibly slow. See there, you took a big risk, and it did pay off, right? But I don't recommend going for F smashes when your opponent's at 0. It's not always going to pay off. Then again, you are at 0, so the risk isn't that bad, right? You see how that works? Because you're not going to lose your stock either. So yeah, you need to be thinking about risk reward every time you make a decision. Not necessarily in game, just in review, and when you're thinking about what to change about your play. That's why you see at top level, there's a lot of players who just sort of spam safe moves, right? Safe combo starters that they know they can get a lot of reward off of. Because it's optimal, right? It's safe, while also netting a high reward, which is what you want. And then obviously, like, at a certain point, people get to the point where they don't hit each other, and then the risks start to come into play. And that's where Smash really gets interesting. Because when both players are at the point where they feel like they have to take risks, that's when Smash becomes a really beautiful game to watch. And
no, it's hard to aim with it.
It's hard in the delay, I understand. Yeah, don't sweat it. Like I said, winning is not the goal. The goal is to improve. The goal is to look at what you did wrong and fix it. And I don't mean recovery angles, because that'll come with time and practice. Decision making is the biggest thing you need to think about. Because yeah, execution just becomes better with time, right? It doesn't make sense to beat yourself up for something that you know will improve with time.
Yeah, I'm messing up things that are simple, that I know that I can do better.
Exactly. So yeah, there's no point in getting mad at yourself, especially not in friendlies, because it's whatever. It doesn't matter. Whether you win this game or not doesn't matter. Your goal is not to impress me. Your goal is to improve at the game, right? That just does not work. I'm never doing that again. The drop-off counter. It just doesn't work. It's good to know. Nice. That down tilt's really good. Low risk, high reward, right? Get me off stage and then find a way to edge guard me. Unfortunate. Yeah, you missed it. Again, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely a.
I know that I can come back, but yeah, the lag is so bad.
Yeah, you wanna not have any self-judgment when you play if you can avoid it. Don't get mad at yourself. Just accept, mistakes are gonna happen. It's your job to improve those mistakes, but yeah, you don't improve those mistakes by getting mad. That actually usually makes them worse. Because you start to overthink everything, right? So yeah, just trust yourself to do what you've been practicing, and let it go. It's okay. Oops. See. See what I mean?
It's laggy.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna sit here beating myself up over one missed quick draw. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said you play Lucas and who else?
And Bowser Jr.
Oh, cool. Very different characters.
Yeah. I don't know, they're really fun.
I have a friend who's a really good Bowser Jr. player.
You want to see the Bowser maybe after this?
If you want, it's totally up to you.
No, maybe with Lucas better. I'd rather spend time on Lucas.
Yeah, sure. Wait, oh, sorry.
Oh.
I thought I hit A. My bad.
Oh. Yeah. But yeah. I think I shoot too much as well.
I think you hit buttons too much is the biggest thing, and one of those buttons is shield. I think you just throw options out without thinking about the risk reward a lot of the time. be them F like, and that can be good. Like if it's just an F tilt and you're just creating space, that's fine. But you know, you go for like really risky grabs. Ooh, you almost got me. And just like you're not respecting Ike, right? Don't hit me for a second. Let me show you something. So there's this thing called a threat bubble. And I know I'm going into a lot of concepts. This is why we record stuff. Do you know what a threat bubble is?
No, perfect.
So
I guess like your range, maybe.
yeah, kind of. It's the range that I can threaten without you being able to react, right? So if I jump at you from over here in there, you can react to that, right? But you can't react to this. You can't react to this. There's no way. Like you can maybe react to a short hop nair at you, but you need to be aware of the range I can attack unreactively at all times and sort of dance in and out of it. And that's what I'm doing to you. I'm trying to hit you with the tip of my sword and staying out of the range of your attacks, right? So you need to be aware of my threat bubble. Be also aware of like dash attack, things like that that could burst at you. And then you want to avoid them and whiff punish a lot more than you want to just hit buttons, especially in this matchup because Ike has more range than you, right? So the more buttons you hit, you're usually going to lose if we're trading because I have bigger disjoints. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
your main focus should be to call out my jumps and to whiff punish. All right, you ready? Taunt when ready. It's a funny taunt. Are you like a big Earthbound fan?
Uh, I've played a little bit of both, but I never really finished.
That's how I am
I
about Ike's
basically.
game. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I had never touched Ike's game. I just thought he was a pretty fun character, and then all the Ike mains made me play it, and I didn't think it was very fun. Nice up smash, by the way. The risk reward was that was a good up smash, right? Because you were at 25. So even though it's really risky, you stand to gain a stock, and you stand to lose like 20%. So it's not a huge deal, right? So those are the calculated risks that I'm talking about. I'm not saying to always go for up smash in that position, but in terms of like when to go for it, that was kind of textbook. Oh, I think I went too low. Yeah. Delay eating us alive here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. You gotta. Oh, you're trying to do like instant double jump there or something? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Trying to, but I can only do it. Yeah, standing still. I'm trying to. Yeah, actually use it on attacks. Like
Yeah.
I can do it.
That's all practice.
Ah.
You'll get there. Yeah, you just gotta get to the point where you can do it without thinking. Like for Ike, like I had that practice with quick draw, wave bounce quick draw. Very fast input that takes a lot of practice. And you just gotta keep going. I still screw it up sometimes. See, that.
Yeah.
Every character has their little thing that they gotta practice. Most characters. Oops. You're doing a better job of shielding my moves. Oh, nice. There you go. Thinking about the risk reward again. That was good. That move is definitely very buffed online, and you need to keep that in mind, but that was still good. The more delay, the harder it is to react to stuff like that, but you chose a good time to go for it. Alright, I'm going to switch characters real quick and go to someone who doesn't have a big disjoint and see how you handle that.
I thought when I was moving to Belgium, like the internet speeds were going to be amazing, but I really had better internet in Colombia.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Really
I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
But
go.
it's like generally, everybody here is like from outside, it's really international, and everybody complains about me.
That sucks. Yeah, Belgium's like a super rich country, right? I would expect better infrastructure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it's your job to weave in and out of Captain Falcon's burst range and punish what you can, as well as poking safely.
No, I think it's not fun.
Nice grab.
No. I'm going to grab.
Oh, it shield poked me.
Yeah, it's really useful for shield hooks. Well, at least online.
Nice. No, yeah, it's not just online. Shield pokes are definitely good. You can't rely on them all the time, but it can work. Oh no. Nice reversal. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for you. But yeah, Lucas is very good at reversing people who go out to edge guard him. So that's definitely something you should have in your arsenal. Oh, my bad. Nice punish. That's really hard to punish, especially in delay.
That was a side.
Kind of worked.
Ah.
So you gotta play with people who will go out there, right? Or you won't get used to dealing with it. Nice. Very safe, right? Because you get to harass me and then get the hell out, which is good. Uh-oh. So this is a regrab. If I was better at Falcon and not in delay, you'd be dead. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. I know it's like not a nice spot.
Oh, nice. I missed the back air, but that was a good punish. So you're doing a much better job. I don't know if it's nerves fading or what, but you're holding center. You're not throwing out too many attacks you shouldn't throw out, and you're just kind of poking at me, which is what you should be doing. Obviously, it's online, so just poking at people is better than it would be. But I do think there's a big improvement in how you've been playing these.
Yes, I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I also offer is VOD review. So if you ever want to like play against some people online and just record it, you know, you can record replays on your Switch. We could always sit down for like an hour and just sort of talk out your mistakes against people without as much delay. That's just a service that I offer. Since you have the monthly coaching, you might want to think about doing that next month.
Okay.
Nice. Good spot dodge call out. Yeah, definitely not in the risk reward there. I should have just F smashed you.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's good. And it takes a little time to correct, and that's fine. It's all about don't get mad at yourself for your mistakes, you know. Just, it's good. Whenever you notice yourself making a mistake, that's a good thing, because you noticed it, right? You gotta be like, you know, glad that you realized something, instead of upset that you have an issue.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep improving, right? Instead of just improving once and then, you know, you want to make a habit of it.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, unfortunate.
No.
You were doing so well, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. You're doing a lot of these fade back fairs. This is really good safe poke that you're doing. But then you took a big risk for no reason, and you're gonna get punished. Not a big punish because I'm not that great at Falcon, but punished nonetheless.
Mm.
Nice. I like the dashback whiff punishes a lot. That's good stuff. Oh, I'm dead, yeah. Oh, just back throw me, right? On Town and City has really... I'm dead now. Town and City has really small side blast zones. So back throws kill stupid early on this stage. Just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Learning, like, do you know, like, a lot of the blast zones of the different stages?
Not really. I just know that Kalos is massive.
True.
And that's basically it.
Kalos is
Yoshi's
massive, Yoshi's is tiny. This stage has really tall blast zones, but really thin ones on the side. So if you catch someone and you back throw them, they'll die at like 110 as Lucas, which it doesn't usually kill that early.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind. Back throw is amazing. See how early you died to that bear? Because of how close the last zones are.
Yeah, I see.
So learning stuff like that can be good. Smashville has pretty small blast zones as well. Battlefield has tall blast zones, but thin ones on the sides, I think. It's important to learn that stuff for counter picks and things like that. Lucas, though, I think Lucas usually wants to go to FD or Kalos and sort of play a pseudo zoner game. But I'm not a Lucas expert, so if a Lucas main tells you otherwise, listen to them.
Yeah.
Nice. Good dashbacks, and I'm dead. Good stuff. That was some Lucas play right there. Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah.
Again, in the delay, yeah, it'll definitely happen.
No, yeah, it's coming in quickly. Who's gonna start this board?
Yep.
Because of that.
The good Lucas mains are really consistent at it though, so you definitely got to practice it. Make sure that you get to the point where it's second nature, right? You don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah, it was a regrab, so definitely should have died, but again, not gonna blame the delay. I'll blame the delay on that one. Nice. Good recovery. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm dead to up throw, right? Yep.
Yeah. I kind of got that habit of throwing up throw because yeah, it's the one that most, like, I seem to notice that it was the better one, but I don't really know, like, which throw has more no. Sorry.
So I think
I don't
back throw
know
will
which
kill
has more
slightly earlier if you get a grab on ledge, but everywhere else up throw is a kill throw.
Oh.
And it'll kill. I'm just ballparking here, but I think it's around like 130 or so, 140 or so on average characters that your up throw will kill. Something like that. It's worth testing. I'm sure some Lucas main somewhere has made a chart.
Yeah.
So that was not the worst recovery. I feel like you could be using your directional air dodge a lot more while recovering. Lucas has an amazing directional air dodge. It's so good. So I'll kind of show you what I mean here. But tether and directional air dodge are going to be your recovery tools more often than up B. Up B is pretty exploitable because how slow and reactable it is. I'll show you kind of what I mean with Falcon, but it's still going to help. So if you're stuck going low, it can often be better to double jump and then air dodge up. It's almost a triple jump, right? Like you see how much height you get as Lucas? His air dodge goes so far, right? So that's really good. And then when you're not doing that, you want to be tethering as much as possible. And then if you're coming in from a high angle, you can do this, though it's a little bit riskier. You can even like air dodge down to ledge. Things like that can help as well. But yeah, air dodge to ledge with Lucas, really, really good because he goes so far. It's essentially a triple jump. So keep that in mind, all right? All right. Tom, you ready to go? Nice. See, that's a good recovery. I thought you were going to do down B, and I was just going to punish it.
I don't know when something is untechable. I've heard that some moves are untechable, but I don't know. How do you know when?
Yeah, so when it's untechable, you know how it's a blue splash when you hit something? You know,
yeah.
like there's a blue splash animation when you hit something, right? When you can tech it. Here, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll just tell you, there's a blue splash when you can tech it, and it turns red when it's untechable. So, and there's no reason not to just always, yeah, you can always go for the tech. Teching is always worth it.
Okay.
Okay. Good recovery. There you go. Good air dodge. Falcon dive, notoriously hard to punish because of how much drift he has.
I was behind you.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
That's why I picked up Lucas originally, just because he
He's
has
got some
really
good
janky.
he's got some good hitboxes. Ooh, nice. That has armor on it, so I can go through your moves if I guess right. That's why Falcon can be pretty good against people who like mash buttons, is because I'll just go through your pressure. So it's better if you... It's really unsafe though, so if you just wait and you try to whiff punish it. Like, you've been doing that, so I don't really need to tell you, but it becomes a lot less scary.
I think, yeah, that's basically. I always like to attack, but yeah, I need to.
Yeah, and it's kind of okay, and Lucas is a character who can get away with that a lot because of how safe his moves are. That was really good spacing. You see, I mixed up and went high on purpose there because I knew you were going to run off. You kind of telegraphed it by just like sitting on ledge like that. So you want to mix more, and you want to react when you can instead of just predicting all the time.
Okay. Yeah, that's a hand from my friends. We always try that to spike each other, but it's
And there's nothing wrong with that, but you might get more spikes if you start reacting to what your opponent does instead of just guessing. Guessing has its place, and sometimes it's all you can do. But if there's a situation where you can react, you should, because it's 100% consistent, right? You see something, you punish it. That's consistent.
But that's really hard. I really have to, yeah.
And the delay, yeah, that's true. But in general, that should be your philosophy. It's a good job covering yourself. Uh-oh. That is unfortunate for you.
That was SDI? That's what SDI is, right? When you drop out of the...
Sometimes, but I did not SDI that. I just got lucky. SDI can help, but that was not SDI. SDI is a technique that makes you pop out of stuff more, but sometimes you just pop out of stuff in this game. So you notice how there...
I've seen videos about SDI, and I'm trying to do it, but it's hard to know if it's working, for me at least, if I'm doing it right.
I'm gonna be honest, SDI should be one of the last things you focus on. Regular DI is like making sure you get your regular DI right to get out of combos is important. SDI is like a nice little bonus, if that makes sense. Here, I'll go Ike actually.
Okay.
SDI is just a nice little bonus that'll get you out of some combos. It's important in some matchups, but I think there's more important things to focus on right now. Mainly like decision making and all that. It's good not to get bogged down with like super technical stuff until you're very comfortable with like getting your fundamentals to where you want them to be, right? So yeah, I would focus your attention there. But if you want to know about SDI, do you know how it works? I can explain it.
I saw a guy from ISAM that you can DI when you're in tumble, but SDI is for everything else, basically.
So yeah, that's true. So what SDI is while you're getting hit, so you'll notice here, right? If I hit you, the game freezes for a second, right? You notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like on hit, the game freezes and it makes like an impact, right? So that's to make things reactable, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see yourself getting hit. You would be getting hit by things that you couldn't react to.
So during that freeze animation, you can technically influence where your character goes by tapping on the left stick in a direction, or like you can. It's about trying to get directional inputs in a direction very quickly. And if you get enough directional inputs, it'll actually shuffle your character a little bit, and you can dodge combos. And that's what SDI is. So Lucas up B is a long multi-hit. So if you SDI in a certain direction, there's a lot of time to possibly get out of the move if you SDI really quickly. But it's an advanced technique and not one that I think is worth like hard focusing on until you get your fundies down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We can...
Yeah, thank you.
So I think a lot of people hate disjoints a lot, like sword characters, because they are used to getting away with hitting buttons, right? And sword characters say, you are not allowed to hit buttons because I can hit buttons from further away, right? It's the same problem people have with zoners, because people want to hit buttons. So my advice to you versus characters with disjoints and characters who outrange you is hit fewer buttons. Have a reason for your buttons. You know what I mean? Because right now I'm just outranging you over and over again and whiff punishing you and stepping out of your range. And your plan worked better on Captain Falcon. Yeah, my Captain Falcon is goofy, not very good. But Captain Falcon's a character who has to contest your range, so you can kind of get away with mashing safe buttons. Ike is not really a character you can get away with that against because he has so much range. So think more about your buttons. Because Lucas does okay against Ike. It's probably slight Ike, but it's really not that bad. Mainly because Lucas is really good at interrupting Ike's recovery.
Just hitting your shield.
Wow, that hit me. I was so far away.
Yeah, the hitboxes on Lucas are crazy.
Oh yeah, they're good.
I know that.
He's very safe too. A lot of his, not up smash, but a lot of his moves are very safe on shield. Which encourages Lucas players to mash, and that's why they hate Ike players. Because yeah, we just kind of counter the mash really hard. We say you can't mash. At least you gotta mash smart. You know what I mean? Even the really good Lucas players are very mashy, but they're smart in how they mash. They only mash good, safe buttons at a distance. But you seem to you know how to do like fade back aerials and stuff to get out of range and all that. That's step one. That's really good. You just gotta move on to. Sorry, what?
Fade back aerials?
Yeah, fade back.
Fade back aerials?
Like when you do a short hop forward and then you fade it back to get out of my range on landing, like that. Yeah, that's a fade back arrow.
Okay.
You're doing it. You just didn't know what it was called. Yeah. So, yeah, it's when you land on their shield, but you do it in a way that, like, hold shield, and you do it in a way that you're, like, drifting away, so it's a lot harder to punish, because, like, I'm all the way over here, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and you're already doing that. You've got it down, so just keep it up. All right. Yeah, this hour spot is strong, but does not spike. See how hard it is to that tether versus if you'd done an up B there? I would have just backguarded you if you'd up B. So, safer recovery options are better. Almost always. Nice. Good snipe. Lucas very good at dealing with Ike's recovery. Another option is to just up B
because it sends it a really bad angle for Ike. So if Ike loses his jump and he gets hit with your up B off stage, he dies.
Okay.
Ooh, big damage. Unfortunate. I fell out. No, I fell out and it was unsafe on hit. That's definitely unfortunate. All right, I got time for one more game real quick, and then we got to call it. I got another lesson coming in soon.
Okay. No, thanks.
Yeah.
Really.
So during this last game, do you have any questions you want to ask?
I guess I asked them mostly during the lesson. The main thing I had was the combos, the one that they just don't work on real people.
Yep.
And it's a bit frustrating, but yeah.
You just got to work it in slowly. You got to accept that you're going to miss them for a little bit before you can hit them, right? And then eventually you'll get comfortable hitting them on real people. It's all about just failing and failing and failing until you succeed. That's literally all it is. Like, nobody jumps in and can do it immediately. But in order to eventually succeed, you have to try, right? You have to be open to the idea of messing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, they play friendlies and they just go for the things they're comfortable with, right? How do you ever improve if you never let yourself get outside your comfort zone? You're just always going to play the exact same way. So you got to take risks in friendlies. The goal is not always to win. Sometimes you want to make the goal to win because that helps you improve too. But the goal should not always be to win, or you'll stagnate. I got a little more range than you. Yeah.
Yeah. That was not a good risk. Yeah.
Lucas definitely a hard character to practice combos with, by the way, because his combos are really weird and you have to read DI really well. So you need to practice them against real people.
Okay.
There's also the option of the training mod pack if you feel like going full tryhard mode, but I haven't even done that.
I think.
So yeah, that's the problem with, oops, I think I'm dead. That's the problem with slow reactable recoveries, right? Is I can just react and punish you. That's why tether and air dodge are good, is because I can't react. I have to guess what you're going to do. You want to make your opponent guess as much as possible and not give them things they can react to. As well as maximize how much you're reacting versus guessing. Unfortunate. That's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll put the VOD up on YouTube later today. Do you mind it being public?
No, it's alright.
Cool. No one really watches them anyway.
Yeah. I watch a couple of them, yeah, to check it out. But yeah.
Cool.
No, thank you. It's really really good that.
Good.
Like how you got everything.
I'm glad. I'm glad it was helpful to you. So I'm gonna give you the student role real quick, which I at sometimes for special events, and it also means you can post in the coaching reviews channel, which is right above this. You're a patron, so I'll see you in a month, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, just hit me up on what you want to do and when you want to schedule it. All right. You have a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye. Thanks again.
Bye.